What would you write in a letter to a tyrannical ruler if you were trying to convince him that his life was in danger? How would you chase off a gang of catfolk who are intent on robbing the town's mayor, who happens to be a gold dragon? Does working on a colossal, surreal, sentient, autopilot driven garbage barge provide good benefits? Ever want to write your own tabletop RPG? All right, let me show you where we might find some of the answers to these pressing questions deep within the pages of these handful of zines. Hey folks, my name is Rudy, and I want to share with you some of the cool independent tabletop role-playing game zines that I've picked up over the years. I'm going to put links for everything in the description down below. Okay, first up, we have Quill by Scott Malthouse, a letter writing role-playing game for a single player. First published in 2016, this is a revised edition that came out, I believe, in 2019. This is an interesting solo game where you'll write a 5-paragraph letter in character to another character within a scenario, trying to score high and get the best kind of outcome from your letter. There's a few different characters you can choose from, and they have 3 attributes: penmanship, language, and heart. You also pick from a handful of skills that add a die to a different attribute check. When you pick a scenario, there's a thing in the scenario called an ink pot, which is like a list of words that's relevant to the scenario story. You have to use a word from that list in each of the 5 paragraphs, and how well you roll determines if you use an inferior version of the word or a fancier, superior version of the word. And as you write out each paragraph, you're going to be rolling to see like how your penmanship comes across, and if you can add flourishes to the paragraph. These things all score points that you'll tally up at the end of the game. You've got your full 5-paragraph letter written. You'll check a scale at the end, and you get to see how well you did. And for the example from the intro, like if you're trying to convince this king that he's in danger, if your letter comes out bad and you roll pretty bad and get some bad results throughout, they might think you're crazy and send the royal guard to arrest you. But if you do well with your letter, get some good rolls, make some good choices, then the result might be that the king invites you to the royal palace and makes you a guard or something like that. It's a pretty interesting combination of writing exercise and game. It doesn't feel like just straight journaling. The combination of like the dice, the character choice, the skills you pick, it feels like you get a little bit more agency within the process, but there's also the luck of the die rolls. It's fun. I think it's fun. While the settings in this original book are mostly like historical genre, there's a few supplements out with new rules and scenarios, settings like high fantasy, noir, and even like 1920s Cthulhu mythos kind of setting. Games won a bunch of awards, and I mean, it's pay what you want, so you can pick it up for free. It is worth supporting the creator and the creators of these different supplements if you do enjoy it. It's really cool. All right, next up, we're going to look at Flik Silverpen's Guide to Dragontown by J.P. Coovert. The back of the zine says, Dragontown was a wonderfully whimsical place. That is, until the gold dragon mayor up and disappeared. Pack your bags full of magic apples and bring a friend. It's time to find a missing dragon. Dragontown's a 40-page low-level adventure compatible with 5e, or pretty much any OSR fantasy rule set. Beautifully illustrated, lots of great maps, monsters, characters, NPCs. It has a cartoony, whimsical vibe to it. A lot of JP's art does. Feels very wholesome and cozy. You get a lot packed in the scene. You get quests, you get dungeons, you get dragons, you get a gang of catfolk trying to rip off the aforementioned dragon mare. You get a big fold-out map. You get another little mini adventure, which is really cool. Like Silverpen's Guide to the Windsong Woods. You're not going to do grimdark with this, but I guess you could do a more straight-ahead D&D style playthrough. But like I said, it really has more of a cozy vibe to it. Reminds me as how when I was a kid, how I would picture old console like JRPGs, like what I thought those worlds would be like Dragon Quest, Final Fantasy, Zelda, based off of the the game art, the cover art and stuff. Not what you see on the screen, but like the what you see in the manuals has that kind of vibe to it. JP's a rad artist. He designs skateboard decks, comics, puts out a new zine every month through his Patreon, and he's got a really good YouTube channel where he talks about all this gaming stuff, like how to make these zines, how to make maps, how to write adventures. Really cool, really good channel. Definitely worth checking out. Now we move on from the good vibes of Dragontown to kind of good vibes too, but in a different way, a little bit gnarlier good vibes of You Got a Job on the Garbage Barge. You Got a Job on the Garbage Barge by Amanda Lee Franck. This book is great. It just hits the ground running. You really don't get some grand introduction. You just get usable content like from right to the get-go. When you open up the book, you got a map, and you've got the known barge. You get a bunch of facts kind of laying out what's going on there. This is a 60-page setting and adventure zine for any rules light OSR system. I don't even know what you call the genre. I want to say it feels very Troika-esque. If you're familiar with the game Troika, don't ask me to describe what Troika's vibe is. It's also like surreal and funny and weird and scary. This reminds me a lot of that. The book describes this giant garbage barge that's floating down a river, stopping at various towns along the way. Within this colossal barge, there's different factions, NPCs, monsters, an entire burning city that was thrown out, sentient autopilot, pocket dimensions, a cabal of wizards doing experiments on loss, a broken god who's all bummed out and weak. It's pretty rad. A little overwhelming, like trying to read it cover to cover for me, but when I sort of just dip into it, it's always fun to sort of like see new things that I didn't notice that the last time around. I cannibalized some of it for a Mothership game a couple years ago, and sort of had the PCs who were sort of doing this like bounty hunter thing jump onto this like space garbage barge and try to extract some information or somebody. I can't remember exactly, but I sort of like picked little pieces from the book and threw it in there. It was fun. It was a lot of fun. Worked out pretty well. Amanda Lee Franck has a few really cool looking books out, and one of the ones that recently came out that she did is called Vampire Cruise. That looks rad. I gotta pick that up. And finally, the last zine we're gonna look at is RPG Design Zine by Nathan D. Paoletta. A how-to zine about tabletop role-playing game design. Aesthetically, this is the most like punk rock zine that I probably have in my collection, at least like visually with the aesthetic, like the cut and paste. It's really cool layout. Nathan, who's designed some great role-playing games like Worldwide Wrestling, pulled together some really terrific advice on designing a role-playing game from what he has in here. It says 13 years of game experience up until the point when this came out a couple of years ago. A lot of this is like high-level design concept stuff, but it's all presented very clearly, and I just like rereading it when I start to like think about working on a new project. Yeah, if you're interested in like game design in any capacity, or just like even just understanding uh, why role-playing games are the way that they are, this is a really cool book to pick up. This is also pay what you want. I think this copy, I think for like I want to say $5, Nathan will print it out for you and mail it to you, or you can just pick up a pay what you want copy, pay whatever you feel like paying. Get it, use it, go make some art. I need me some new zines. Always be needing me some new zines. Thanks for watching. All the books I talked about were just made by regular people making art. Please go support these artists and the scene as a whole. Go make something yourself to share with the rest of us. I've got a bunch more zines to get through, so look out for the next episode coming soon. Let me know in the comments if there's any zines that I should talk about. I might have them. I got a bunch, but there's got to be a billion that I don't have, so I'm down to learn about more. Please let me know. Or if you have any experience with any of the zines that I talked about today, what you think? Did you get to use them? Let's get out there and spread the word on these. Go make some art, please. We always need more art in this world. Peace out. Thank you.